I rented out a professional studio space to prove myself wrong about the Kemper profiling power. In doing so, I actually happen to create some of the best Kemper profiles I've ever heard. I think it has to do with 3 different aspects of profiling that I'll break down at the end of this video. All of this resulted in 6 incredible Kemper profiles of my 2-rock Bloomfield drive. And be sure to stick around to the end of the video because I'll be giving them to you for free. Let's get into it.
What do you want, dude?
First of all, hello, my name's Daniel McLaughlin. I'm a guitarist and producer based out of Los Angeles, California. Been using the Kemper for many years now. And if you're a returning member to this channel, you may have heard me say a statement along the lines of, I didn't think that the Kemper could profile in the style of like a 2-rock or a Dumble. But I think there are a couple of amps that the Kemper doesn't even get in the ballpark of. I think it does a great Marshall. I think it does a great Vox. It honestly does a great Matchless. But I don't think it does the 2-rock thing yet. Even the Dumble tones kind of sound just not exciting for being one of the most overhyped amps of all time. Now, I made this claim for a couple different reasons. The first may be a little obvious, but the sound of a 2-rock or a Dumble or any of these Dumble style amps is the sound of like an immediate, striking, crisp attack. There's no sag, there's no delay to the tone, akin to like what a Marshall would sound like. It's very direct. I think this is why a lot of players have commented that Dumbles are a little hard to play through. The amp has a stiff tone, and if you can wrangle the stiff tone, you're rewarded with this is the tone that I dream of. This is the tone that I wish could be captured by the Kemper. But the thing that makes that tone special is the fact that that amp is loud. It's probably really loud in that room. And then there's also a great room tone. It's in a professional studio. And the thing about the Kemper profiling process is it doesn't exactly factor in room tone when it comes to the finished product. I'm here at the Resort in Orange County. It's a recording studio, and I'm trying to capture the sound of a 2-rock, the kind of unattainable sound that I previously thought the Kemper could not capture. So now here's the Kemper profile that I made. There's no other effects, there's no post-processing, it's just my Strat going right into the Kemper. I think it sounds pretty good. Now, what are the things that I implemented to make this profile sound so good? Well, the first one is going to be the room. This one, again, may be fairly obvious, but maybe not to some. The room plays a huge part and role in the sound of the amplifier. And in turn, it will play a huge part in the sound of your finished profile. But room tone actually needs to be considered 2 times. The first time, when you're tracking, when you're taking the profile, you need to consider where you're placing your microphone. Best practices has always been to put the mic right against the grill cloth with an SM57. That's definitely a sound, but for this profile, I actually experimented with a slight distance away from the speaker cone to capture a little bit more of the nice acoustically treated room. Here's the result that we got just from taking the profile. So now if we want to take this further and get the sound that we heard from the Dumble amplifier, we actually have to add in additional room sound. Because the Kemper's priority is not taking the sound of the room when it's profiling, we can just use a reverb effect. Now we're just going to add a little bit of reverb to the profile to give what I would consider as context to the profile. This subtle addition really makes the profile sound real. It makes it not sound like it's necessarily right up against your ear. And actually with an A/B test with a couple friends, this was the first time they'd actually told me that the Kemper felt realistic to them. Here's what it sounds like with the added room reverb. So the next aspect of these Kemper sounds have to do with volume. Because obviously we know loud is more good, but how much loud is good? Is too much loud maybe not good? All kidding aside, I spent a lot of time in the room trying to figure out what volume really engaged the speaker enough to where it sounded really good in the room as a whole. A lot of amplifiers, this 2-rock included, don't sound as good as they can at suboptimal volumes, so bringing them up to the volume that they like to be at will get you the optimal tone. On top of that, with certain amps, this 2-rock included as well, as you push it into further and further overdrive, it will start to thin out in a not so good sounding way. Finally, I think the microphone has a lot to do with the sound of a profile, because I've been using an SM57 for years directly on the grill cloth, and that's a sound that is a very good sound. I know a lot of people might blend in an R121. I had the option to experiment with a couple of the microphones at this studio, so I was kind of enticed by this tube microphone that ended up being a really, really great profiling mic. For the studio nerds out there, this is a Neumann M7 capsule housed in a body that's made by this company called JCF Audio. I also used a similar microphone with the JCF body, except this one used a Neumann KU47 capsule. For those of you that don't know, these capsules are famous for being in the vintage Neumann U87, which is a famous condenser microphone used by the likes of the Beatles, Frank Sinatra, and it's historically been used as a vocal mic. So it was interesting to see it being used so effectively as a profiling mic. The fact that it incorporates a tube gives it this preamp-like dimension to it. I would imagine it's similar to what it would be like if I had, some Neve 1073s in the chain, but I think on top of that, the extended frequency range of the condenser mic really added to the realism of the profile. So now you may be wondering, with the timing of this video, are these profiles liquid profiles? Kemper version 10.0 came out last week, and I've had it for a little while with the early version, but these profiles are not liquid profiles. They are, however, liquid-ready profiles. Now, what does that necessarily mean? The profiling of the amp took place after the update. They have been made with consideration to the EQ and gain position. So you can add whatever liquid profile setting you may want to choose. I didn't necessarily want to ship these profiles with a mismatched EQ section that wasn't working for the 2-rock. Hey, maybe soon there will be a 2-rock liquid profile setting that comes out. Please keep in mind that these are all subjective opinions on how I think Kemper profiles are best captured. Kemper has never formally come out and said how to make a profile in the best way. I usually have a lengthy refining process. I don't really know how much of a difference that makes. But what I do now when I'm making a pack of Kemper profiles is I will make 10, 20, 30 profiles, and I'll come back into my home studio and try them all out, distill them down, and then I'm left with the 6 best profiles of the 30. And it was actually this workflow that led to the creation of my new website, 60 Cycle Sounds, and that's where you're gonna go get this Kemper pack completely for free. I had this idea in my head for a little while of smaller Kemper packs, more digestible packs of 6 profiles each that then you'd become, hopefully, more intimately familiar with. With this liquid profiling thing, I am still very excited about the Kemper. I still think it sounds great. I still use it all the time. And I want to make more Kemper packs. I want these to go out to more people, and I thought this was just a better way of doing it. So the link to the 2 Brock Bloomstone Drive studio pack is available in the description off of 60cyclesounds.com. If you get some value out of this, please consider sending the video to some of your friends who are Kemper users. Let me know what you think in the comments below, but until then, thanks for watching.